for another, what am I calling this? Forecast. Okay, so let me just preface that I am here to help you. So what my channel is about, and I said that I want to just, start to do this or kind of give a small introduction for those that are new. I am simply just helping. We're going through a weekly forecast of what to expect for the week, or what we can, with it being a probability game, what we can, kind of hint to what we think it's going to be, essentially, for the week, so that you can have a better trading week. This is going to be for those that are essentially day traders, intraday traders, or possibly swing, because sometimes I do hold positions. I'm actually currently in a position for AU as of right now that I held over the weekend. So if you're more of a scalper, this may not be your jam, just because that's not something that I do here on this channel as of right now, maybe in the future. But let's just go ahead and jump in. Don't want the video, again, to be too crazy. So starting on the weekly with AU. I think last week I said I was going to do both silver and gold. I ended up just doing silver. So I think we're going to stick to kind of that same situation this week with just gold. I do apologize on that. So let's start with AU on the weekly, which is where we are right now, just to kind of get that bird's eye overview of where we are. So right now, AU looks a little bit funky. Funny enough, I'm actually in a position on AU, looking to see AU at least get to about here, and then I'll be pulling out and then completing for the week until I can see exactly what's going to happen with price once it gets here. So as of right now, it's a strong possibility with that large push that we had last week due to some news that we could see a possible retest around in this area, and then we'll see it go back, hopefully go back down to around here, and then we'll just have to see exactly what's going to happen. We could possibly or potentially see some consolidation. So let me go to the daily and let's see what we got. So yeah, like this large candle that we seen last week with some news kind of knocked us out. I know that on the previous video for last week's forecast, we were a little bit unsure of what was going to happen here due to the fact that price was kind of holding. There was a bit of a rejection here from price previously, so we weren't sure. And then that news, so this is why it's super important to decipher if you're going to be a fundamental trader or a technical trader. A lot of people, and I shouldn't say a lot, I'm pretty sure there are a pretty decent amount of traders out there that actually kind of invest in both. So they do a little bit of both, which is actually super, super helpful. I wouldn't say to do one or the other, because I think that they both kind of go hand in hand, and they will help you if you have both of those tools in your arsenal. So with this was a scenario where potentially, if news wasn't a factor, we could have seen it go back up. But because of news, that fundamental piece, we've seen it hit about here. So now what we have to do is wait. This is looking like very much indecision. But I currently, just full disclosure, am in a position for it headed in the bearish direction. I'm looking forward to get to about here. Of course, my risk is managed. So if it doesn't go or manage to get back down here, I won't lose that much. So we'll just have to see. But in my personal opinion, looking at kind of where price had previously hit, what price had previously done, I'll be waiting to see price get to at least here, and then I'll actually be getting out of the trade and then moving on to the next. Let's just jump down real quick to 4 hour just to see what that looks like. A little bit of consolidation, which is to be expected, kind of based on what it looks like right now. So yeah, because of that large move last week, I'll just be waiting. Now I want to say my stop loss is somewhere up in this region. I did leave it a little extra room, so it's, I would say about, I don't know, I would say it's probably safe around here, and that's kind of where my stop loss is at, just to give it a little room, because I did get stopped out on something this week for not giving it a little bit of room, because that's what I do. That's my thing. So say as I do, not as I say, or do as I say, not as I do. So let's scoot over to EU. So for EU, it looks like we're actually, let me take a peek here 1 second and see. We get out on the real quick. Oh, we are on the week. Okay, cool. So let's scoot out some. This one is a little bit tricky. It looks like it could be potentially changing direction. As of right now, it almost looks like it's hit, slow, kind of, oh my God, coming down for a bit of a retest right here. So that's what I'm looking at. It looks like we're still in the bullish direction, but it looks like we're coming down for a retest. But let me jump to the daily and see what that looks like. Kind of confusing, or not confusing, but kind of challenging to figure that out, because on the daily's not really matching up with the weekly, and we're seeing a large rejection here. So we potentially be seeing it going in a bearish direction. But we'll have to see what's happening when price hits this area to see if we'll possibly see a little bit of consolidation. So EU and AU are not doing exactly the same like they were last week. And I think that, like I said, news was a large factor into that, which is fine. But see how we're seeing this large rejection. Even though the candle is large, I would have to see a break and a retest before getting in on the long game on EU. So kind of a slightly different scenario when it comes to EU this week. Let's jump down to the 1 hour real quick just to take a peek. Yeah, it's giving retest to some extent, but it's tested this area a couple of times, and we'll just have to see what happens when price actually starts to make its move. So we may and may not see, this one is still slightly different from from TradingView, but each of these are like where price has kind of tried to test it out at and was unsuccessful, and it's tried that a couple of times. So we'll just have to see. I don't have any bias right now on EU. We're just waiting to see what it's going to do. Let's jump over to GU. On GU, it looks like we are looking at, let's see, let me get out. Oh, we are on the weekly. Okay, weird. That was probably because I had previously looked at it. Okay, so I'm still seeing quite a rejection here. Now, consolidation right now, right, on the weekly. Let's go down to the daily. Okay, so looks like somewhat of a fake out happened here, which is part of the game, and then it headed back up. That's a perfect example of a fake out. But it did reject in the previous days, so I probably wouldn't have taken a position on here just based upon that, because it had rejected leading up to a fake out. Now what we're waiting to see is for it to stop bouncing around in this area. It did reject down here, so you could, possibly put yourself in a long position here until it gets to here again. But again, when it gets here, it's a strong chance that we're going to see it kind of bouncing back and forth. Either way it decides to go, I need a break. Let me grab my brush tool. I need a breakthrough. Let me run it back and scoot this guy over so that you can get a view, more clear view of what I'm talking about. And we'll do the brush, and for the brush, let's go a little thicker. Okay, so either way, I got to see a break, come back down to this area, and then start making those higher highs and higher lows. If price comes back down, I need a break, a retest, and that's partly what happened right here. We didn't really see a retest that happened here. So if we started to see this candle coming down and then a large like wick of rejection, then we could put ourselves in on a short position. But anyway, we need a break, a retest, and then we need to start seeing those lower lows and lower highs. So not going to do anything with GU as of yet. Just have to wait for the week to play out. Let me jump on to the 4 hour just so we can kind of, this is going to look nuts as soon as I get down here. But anyway, you get the idea. It's been a lot of sideways movement. This piece kind of changed a bit of that sideways movement that we have been seeing. So we'll just have to see exactly what's going to happen when we once we get kind of out of this area. And then we can go from there as to whether we are going to be placing any kind of position on GU. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. We'll wait to see what happens once it kind of gets from bouncing out of that main area. So let's shoot over to UJ. I'm cruising through this one today. That's good. All right. So with this one, with UJ, I made some money. I think it was on UJ this week, but I also lost a little bit. I actually ended up getting back in for a position, and this is the perfect example of not giving enough room. So this is the actual position that I had set up, but this is also a good example to some extent of not allowing enough room for your trade to breathe. Had I left enough room and I had put my stop loss essentially right here, granted this is on the weekly, so keep that in mind. Had I put my stop loss here, I would have been in the trade and it would have went up. Oh my gosh, I would have hit my profit and then I would have been out. It went right up there, literally. Look at that. It went right up there. I would have hit it. I would have taken home my profit and kept it moving. But no, your girl likes to not leave enough room. Please, 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 for the love of God, I'm talking to you and myself, leave enough room for your trade. It's just, it will so help you in the long run. You can't, and if you feel like you are, and I'm talking to myself again, I like to do this. I'm just a risky kind of person. But if you feel like you are risking too much, enough to leave this room available for your trade, then you're risking too much on your account, period. So don't do that to yourself. All right, so let's scoot over, see what we're coming with on the weekly. I swear I think that we're going to be seeing a freaking retest right here, and then we're going to be headed back up. Now, we may only get back up to that area again, and then we'll be maybe in some consolidation here. But as where it stands right now, it's rejected. It's rejecting. It's almost giving a slightly bigger indecision candle, but it's rejected essentially right there where we could have been in some profit. All right, I'm going to stop complaining. Anyway, so when it comes to UJ, I'll just be kind of watching, because essentially when I say that it's only going to probably make it up to here, I'm looking at what previous price action had done, and that's where price action has stopped. If we get to here and we keep stopping and not being able to make it through here, we could potentially see price headed back down in the bearish direction. Let's scoot down to the 4 hour real quick. Yeah, news had a lot to do with how price moved this week past, so that's something to keep an eye on, because I think we have CPI news this week as well. I can't remember which day, but we do have CPI news a couple of days. There's a couple of days this week, if I'm not mistaken. Friday, I know for sure, is one of them where US has news. So if you're trading US, that's something to keep an eye on if you are going to be in getting any positions this week, or just making sure that you're up on your fundamentals so you know which direction to go in. Okay. So again, I'm waiting to see what happens with this consolidation, and then we'll go from there. This could potentially be a position where you could go long for a short period of time, but it's so small, it may not even be a one-to-one, and it may not even be worth it. So just keep your eye on that. Double checking on the 1 hour. I kind of see the same thing. waiting for that consolidation to see what price is going to do. So back on gold. Gold actually looks pretty cool. We're gonna, let's go to the weekly real quick just to see. So this shooting star looks great. However, it is right at a place of confluence, or not confluence, but right at a place where price was previously at. A very common area where price had stopped at. So let's jump down to the 1 hour. Yes, this is a great candle, big, it's strong, it's great. We just, because price rejected so bad here in the past, I strongly believe that unless we, again, can get a break, a retest, and then we're headed up, but even here, this may not be worth it because then we'll just be waiting to see exactly what price is going to do here. This could be a little bit of pip. Keep in mind, this is on the daily too, so I would be waiting to see what price is going to do. Because it hasn't gotten above this area just yet, I'm going to assume we're going to be retesting here, and then we're going to be headed down. So we'll just have to wait to see. Again, on gold, if you're going to trade gold, it has to be the full amount on the account. So let me jump down real quick to the 4. Ooh, that looks crazy. All right, no worries. On the 4 hour, it looks like a strong uptrend, right? But this, because of this area, it's so big right here, but so I do apologize for that, but that's because I'm on the 4 hour and I made the notes on the daily and the weekly, and that's why I don't usually do that. But anyway, you get the idea. We're just gonna have to wait to see what price does once it gets past this area and see if it's able to hold. If it's able to hold, you'll see a break. If you don't see a retest, it could still take off, but the chances of you seeing a retest will keep you away from a false breakout. You don't want to be faked out. So watch for that, and then go from there. You have to wait for that in order to, I don't know, it could be a fake out. So just be extra careful. Something similar to this. So that is it for this week. I hope that this was helpful. And if there is something that you want me to go over, a pair that you would like for me to go over in the future, please drop that in the comments. I'd be more than happy to help you. And if you have any other question, I'd be more than happy to help you drop that in the comment. But if this was helpful, I hope that you like, share, and subscribe. And I will catch you next week. Get after it.